And hello everybody, and welcome back to week 62 of our Minecraft Let's Play series. How are you all doing? I hope you're all doing very well this week, and as you can tell, it is Christmas time, or the holiday season for Minecraft, so happy holidays to all of you, and I hope you guys, if you guys actually celebrate it, enjoy. This will be later than the holidays, but you know, this is fine. But yeah, without further ado, I say we should go on and get started talking about what we have planned for this week. Now, obviously, the usual culprits are here, where we've got adding more villagers to the villager hall, even though this is getting more and more complicated each time we do it, for reasons I'll describe later. Then, of course, we've got the mining hole. I want to add some decorative chains to the crystal that we implemented last week, so that's one of the things I want to get done. And then maybe add some water decorations to some of the platforms that I've already started on. It might add some more movement into the whole build, and I think it might look nice. Then we have some base improvements. I want to finally get a floor plan down exactly for what I want this base to look like, because I've honestly just been placing stuff where I thought it'd be okay. So, you know, like I have this building here, the tower here, this structure. It's been kind of just like, hey, what would look good for this week? But I want to actually have a little bit of a plan for that now. So kind of decide, okay, do I want to have a building, you know, somewhere here, or do I want to have a building here? Just kind of figure out where I want everything, so I can also decide where I want to place things like flora or the lanterns or stuff like that. And of course, just other decorations. If I end up getting a good floor plan down, I will end up putting the lamps and stuff like I just said. And then on here as well, I have an eye blossom farm. Now, this isn't going to be anything too weird when it comes to farms. It's actually going to be reusing a design that we ended up using for our other flower farms in the swamp and in the flower forest, where I'm going to go ahead and place that into the pale garden, and we're going to go ahead and get eye blossoms for a multitude of reasons. They can be used during redstone projects, as well as if I want to use orange or gray dye. They'll be very useful. And then I also have just question marks on here if I ever want to add something. It's just kind of a thing that I could fall back on. But yeah, without further ado, obviously, first things first that we're going to be doing this week, like every other week that I've been doing in the past, we have more villagers to add to the villager hall. And I usually just do this in the beginning of the episode just to kind of get it out of the way, because it's the easiest thing on my list to do usually. Or at least for sometimes. You'll see what I mean in a second. Because in the nether, we have 9 villagers here today. That's right, 9. And this was a good number to have usually for the librarians, because, I had a decent amount of these guys that were just going to be, well, I'd have to just re-roll their trades for what book I wanted. Now we're getting into the more complicated ones where I can't find if I have the correct trade until the end. So what I'm going to do for today is these guys are going to be put into different jobs. Now I'll explain more, but let me go ahead and move all these guys over to where I need them to be. So be right back. Alright, now that we got all 9 of the villagers here, let's talk. So, what my plan is for today for the villagers is the first thing I need to do is finish up putting all the butchers down, because I already started up there with those 6, so getting these 5 makes the most sense to me. But then that leaves 4 more villagers. Now, for the easiest way for me to get villagers in here without, having any duplicate trades is to put them into different occupations. And that would mean that I would be putting 1 in the mason area, 1 in the shepherd's area, 1 in the Fletcher's area, and then the other one probably is going to go down here into the leatherworkers area or the toolsmiths area. 1 of these 2 at least. So I'm going to go ahead and try to put all the villagers there, and I'm thinking that after we do that, we'll probably trade with some of them just to kind of see what deals we're getting. So yeah, give me a few moments, or at least a few moments for you, probably about half an hour for me. I'm going to go ahead and put all these villagers into their respective locations. Which one's gonna happen first? Is the guy gonna actually get his job, or is this guy gonna get here first? And before you think that this guy is not moving in the slightest, well, you're not entirely wrong. You know, honestly, part of me wants to take out all the job site blocks too from here, because I don't want them grabbing the wrong one, so I think I'm going to. It shouldn't be too hard to place them back when need be, or to actually know where to place them. At least I'm going to hope. You picked up the job really quickly, alright. Alright, so there's all the butchers in. Now it's time to go ahead and get the leather worker in, as well as a mason, a shepherd, and a fletcher. And alright, now we've got all the villagers in. Here's our shepherd. He's got wool trades. Our mason, which I'm gonna have to look at his trades to see if this is the trade I want. The fletcher, whom with I've already traded because I liked his arrow trades and stick trades. And then over here we have our leather worker. So now, what I'm actually gonna go ahead and do is for most of, if not all of the villagers that we've put in here today, I'm gonna go ahead and try and get them up to their max level to see if I actually want to keep the villagers. Because this one, I want to see if we can get the saddle trade, and then we'll see how the trades for the other ones go. Specifically this one over here, because he might not even have tipped arrows. So we shall see. So give me, well, as per usual, it's a few seconds for you, probably a day for me. So I'll meet you guys back in a bit. And alright, now that we've gone ahead and grabbed all these shulker boxes worth of trading items, I'm going to go ahead and trade with all of our villagers. First off, I'm going to start with the leather worker and see if we can get a saddle trade. Alright, cool. He does have a saddle trade. Nice. That is one that I was worried about. Now let's go over to our mason and see what trades he has. And I'm hope that this is enough. So he has block of quartz and quartz pillar. Purple terracotta, glazed terracotta. Give me a second. I don't know what this guy's trades was in the end. Alright, so the guy's trades, while interesting, they do actually work out for me, so that's fine. I will trade with him though, because I've brought all the materials here to trade. But let's go look at a different person now. The Fletcher probably is a good place to start, and I could just trade sticks with you. This guy I am worried about because he might not have the tipped arrows I'm looking for. He does not have the tipped arrows. Now we have the Shepherd, who takes white wool and brown wool, which I've also brought. Now he's taking that, alright, but I feel like some of these trades are not good. Give me a second. Yeah, I'm actually gonna stop trading with this guy because I'm not too sure if I want to keep his trades or not. I definitely don't want to keep the Fletcher down there. So all I know is I want to keep the leather worker down here because he sells the saddles as well as takes all of the item trades that I've been hoarding. And the mason, those are the two I want to keep here. I'm not sure about the shepherd and I'm not sure about the Fletcher, which kind of sucks, but oh well, what are you gonna do? However, I also want to go ahead and trade a little bit with these guys. So I need a quarter of them to sell pork chops, which a quarter of 11 is about 3. Don't know if we have 3 of them. We have 1 here, which I'll go ahead and trade these pork chops with. There's 2. And there is 3. Alright. They also take coal, which is good, because we have a coal farm, obviously, but otherwise, could be better. So, rabbit, stew, and chicken. That actually worked out perfectly. Yeah, we'll trade with the stew guys, why not? Alright, so sadly, what we're going to be doing is getting rid of the Fletcher, definitely. And we're also going to be getting rid of the shepherd here, so sad, but they just did not hit the mark. So that means out of the 9 villagers we moved in this week, we've got 7. So not horrible, but not too great either. That's fine. We'll just suck it up and move all of this back to our base, and we'll get on to the next thing I have on my list. And alright, now that we have cleaned up everything that I needed for those villagers, what I want to do next is I want to go ahead and make a flower farm. Now, like I said, it's not going to be any flower farm, it's going to be a flower farm that is put into the pale garden for eye blossoms. Now, the thing with this is I also will probably need to go ahead and build it up a little bit higher because I don't want to have to deal with the creaking. So I might go ahead and build this up in the air, or I might build it underground. One of the two. So yeah, let's go over there and we'll see what I decide upon. You know, even with the nether portal, it still takes a while to get over here. Yeah, here we are back in the creakings biome. I also have realized there's not really a place that's flat enough to put this anyway, so putting this in the air might not be a bad idea. You know, if I cleared this out, this might work. Yeah, let me clear this out actually. This might work. Alright, we're definitely gonna need to like swap some of this over for grass, but let's just go ahead and build the actual farm. And alright, there is our farm easily built already. Now I just gotta throw in all this. And now, all we have to do is let this run. Now, to save your sanity and my own sanity, I've gone ahead and turned off the block sound, so here we go. Forgot we gotta give it a little bit of a startup. There we go. So as you can see, it is creating the closed blossoms currently. Now I'll let it stop, and about erase 2.5 stacks. Nice. But what if we want to have the open blossoms? Because these gray blossoms are good for giving us gray dye, if I remember correctly. Yeah. But what if we want the open blossoms for orange dye? Well, we have to wait for night for that. So jump cut. And alright, now it's nighttime. We're gonna wait for these guys to open. So we have a proof of concept. At least I'm going to hope they open during the night, or else this is not going to work for what I wanted to do. You know, we'll just let this run and see what happens. Nope, it only spawns in the closed eye blossoms. They're a good source of gray, but I was kind of hoping that we'd be able to get some orange from this too. I want to try something really quick. Alright, I honestly highly doubt this is going to work, but I went and placed a bunch of these eye blossoms around here, so yeah, this is too fast. Oh, no, some of them actually did change the... Interesting, so I could get both from here. Obviously, there's going to be more closed ones. Hold on, I've got an idea. If we go ahead and just lither this place with eye blossoms, perhaps we'd get more of the open ones. Alright, let's test out that theory. Yeah, we're obviously getting more of the closed ones because they just don't have like the time to actually open. Alright, that's fine. Let me turn this off and I'll turn on the sounds again so we're not feel like we're going insane. Yes, alright, that didn't work out as well I was hoping, but we at least do have a source of these eye blossoms, which is good. I think if there was a way for me to pause these slightly to the point where they don't just immediately fire, it'd probably work, but I don't know. I'm not too worried about that right now. I just kind of wanted to build this farm in this area just so that we actually had at least a source of eye blossoms in case I want to build it in the future with them. This may be an idea I come back to in the future and go ahead and actually make it so that it works with both flowers, but for now, let's go ahead, head back to our base, and we will start up on something different. And that something else is we're actually going to go ahead and head over to our mining village for what we're going to do next. But first, I need to stop by here because I need to grab some materials. Namely, I need andesite, blackstone, and some water buckets. Or at least buckets to fill with water. So I'm going to grab those and I'll meet you over at the mining village. Now that we're at the mining village, I've talked recently about wanting to add some chains to this crystal, as well as adding some water features to these areas because it might give it a little bit more character to the area, but we'll see about that. And the first thing I actually want to do is the chains. Now, something when I was actually planning for these, I forgot that I made this entire area even numbered, and these chains are an odd number. So technically the solution, or the sane solution, would be do it from the corners into there. But I never claimed to be sane, so we're going to be doing it from the sides, and we're going to see how it looks. And I want to have one on each face, so there's going to be one here, one here, one here, and one here. All going to be made out of andesite and blackstone, and I forgot a stone cutter. I'll fix that in a second, but for now, I'm going to go ahead, build these chains, and we will see how they look. And there we go. There is one chain that is poorly connected to the wall. Don't worry, that will be fixed at some point. But for now, I mean, it doesn't look horrible, but it does look a little bit strange. I understand that, but oh well. So I'm going to go ahead and take this design and connect it on all four sides so that this crystal is actually being supported and not just magically floating. So give me a little bit. All right, that's 2. All right, there's number 3, with it running a little bit into this guy. And there we go, there is 4. So this is what they kind of look like when you're standing on the crystal. They look a little bit strange, but how do they fare against looking at them from an angle that I'm actually going to be at? Like this one. They still look strange. All right, cool. They don't look that bad, in my opinion, but they do look a little bit strange, I'll admit, but they at least give this more reason to be held up. And again, don't worry, I will figure out a way to actually connect these to the wall and not just have them hanging off like that, but I'm just going to leave them like that for the time being. Because now we've got the next fun part, and that was I wanted to try add some water features into these little areas. And by adding like water features, I mean just like simple rivers that kind of flow down into this area down here. But I also want to figure out which areas I want to do that on first. So give me a second, I'm going to fly around, figure out what levels I would like to add these waters on. Because I don't want to add too many, but I also don't want to have too little. I feel like whenever I actually get to building this big one, this can have a water feature. So I'll just mark them with blackstone for the time being. So I don't want one there then. Don't want one across. This one over here could probably have a water feature. So I'll place blackstone here. So I don't want one there. And out of those 2 right here, I think this one would probably be the most to benefit from a water feature. So we'll have 3. 3 water features, 2 that I can install right at this moment. I think this one could just have like maybe a river going through it. I don't know, we'll see. This is all just testing because I didn't really think of where I wanted the water to come from on these guys. And also I kind of want to add in some dirt onto the sides here where the water's coming from, at least. Not everywhere, just in most places. And by the way, I know I've got to really like fix the bottoms of these little like lips that we've got because they're not well, just look, they're not, it's very flat. They should be probably brought out a little bit more. I'll fix that when I get to it. That is the best way to put that. And now to add the water into here. Alright, now how does that look is a good question. I mean, I don't mind the water. It does block the geode, I just realized, but that's fine. I don't know why. I've imagined it being bigger, but I think that's fine. Now we've got this big one over here. And I think we might have it going from here right to here, and then falling down. Well, we can't have it falling down onto there, so it actually has got to come over to here. Also, I'm kind of hoping that this rate I get better at this as time goes on, because if I don't, then these are all going to look horrible. But you don't get better at something if you don't practice it, so we're just going to have to live with my mistakes for the time being. You know, it also probably would also help to add maybe some like gravel or andesite into this, which I might do in the future, but for now we'll just stick with the simplistic dirt and stone. Maybe I went too high with this. I'm not too sure, but either way, I think it looks passable is a way of putting it. Here, let's look at it from the prism, which I might start calling this the prism and not the crystal. I mean, yeah, the water coming there looks fine, but I think the drop off could use some work. But for the actual time being, I'm going to leave the water sources to where they are now. I think, like I said before, we could probably do some more detailing with like gravel and andesite, which honestly could even just be said for like the undersides of these because it's just stone. But for now, I think I'm going to leave them and we'll go ahead and work on a very small thing for planning wise that I want to do for the end of this week. So I'll meet you guys back over at our base for the last thing. And the thing I actually want to talk to you guys about is landing. So I've talked a little bit about wanting to do more buildings around here, right? But the issue is I've also wanted to do lighting, and I can't do lighting without the buildings being here because I don't know where there's going to be light sources and where there's not going to be light sources. So I was hoping that for a little bit of the end of the episode, we can kind of figure out how many buildings I want around here as well as where I actually want them. And I've noticed that there's not that many spots to put buildings here. Like I feel like this one might have been even a little bit much of a stretch, but we shall see. And then the other issue is I can't go too far that direction because, well, there's just not much here. I might make some things here, but that might be a future issue. Right now, what I want to focus on is the main area. So not beyond this bridge, around here, not too high up there, just kind of where the path goes. And to mark this and actually make it so that I end up doing something with this in the future, we are going to mark these in some very ugly colors so that I have more of a motivation to do it. I say ugly, I mean just more not what you'd expect around here for the colors. So we'll do some pinks and yellows. Pink, I think, will be building areas, like actual buildings, houses, interior stuff, and yellow will just be regular buildings. And the first thing that I actually thought of when I was doing this is something we could do. I don't know how well it'd work, but we, instead of me trying to figure out putting buildings here, we might be able to cut this off to an extent, kind of like so. And I'm thinking like one of those old townscapes that would be surrounded by walls. I'm thinking we could possibly build one of those and have it be the entrance for this place. Now, I don't know what shape I'm looking for, but I'm thinking we have something like that. And it just kind of come across here and go to over there, which I guess I can signify with more wool. Now, by the way, this is definitely not going to be the shape of the wall. I'm also even out of wool already, but it will definitely be a way to tell where I want to have the wall. So yeah, I'll come over here and then attach up to this hill. And the wall's not going to stop there though, because we have another side of this. And so the wall would come over from about here and possibly cut to somewhere in here. I'm not too sure where I'd want it, but definitely want a wall here, sectioning this off. And there's two more spots I'd like a wall. First one being somewhere around here, probably just place it like so that this area is sectioned off. I'll just do that for the time being. It doesn't necessarily need to be attached, just so I have an idea of where I want it to be. And then the last place I'm thinking of having a similar structure would be over here, cutting this little valley off. Probably about here, to be honest. So yeah, with all the yellow wool, this is kind of where I'm thinking the walls would be, and I'm gonna leave this open for plans in the future, I guess. What plans? I've got no clue, but I think not utilizing this giant lake would be a waste. And now we need to talk buildings, and I'm mainly talking about buildings that would possibly be going down in this area. So first things first, I've talked about this before. I want to have a building somewhere here, and we'll just kind of mark it with pink wool, and it'd probably go to about here. So that would be one building in this wall. I've talked about there being a building here. I'm not too sure if that would work. I'm thinking this might even be another like curved staircase perhaps, which if that's actually the route I want to take this, I'm going to go ahead and mark that with like orange wool, I think. So give me a second. So yeah, maybe just like about here have a staircase that kind of curves a little bit. So I'll start curving like here and comes up to this location. I think this area could definitely benefit from having some buildings. So I'll place down some pink wool once more. Maybe even here, I'm not too sure. I don't even know what this would be necessarily. Maybe like a little market area, which if that's the case, maybe we kind of just mark it with some cyan, just to give myself an idea of where I want to have things built. There's definitely going to need to be a path here, attaching it to our path around here. Probably do a little bit of a curve, like so. And perhaps around here, we can have a tunnel going over to our mining area. I guess that's just going to have to remind me that this is a tunnel. That kind of looks like a worm going across. What else? What else do we think we can add here? Do we need to add anything here? Or do we have space to add anything here is another question. You know, maybe I should expand the wall idea to actually encompass this as well. So there would be the wall here. And it would technically section this area off, but I think that'd be fine. Not have the mines in the actual town makes sense to me, at least. And then possibly connect it up to somewhere like here. And then we definitely have to terraform the area, but I think we can do something cool with these ideas. And then eventually, when we get around to all of that, which I don't even know how long that's all going to take, because that's a lot of ideas, Sky, that you've just instated upon yourself. That would probably take, who knows, maybe the majority of a year, if not longer. But what's life without a little bit of challenge, right? But yeah, that's definitely a lot I just put on the plate, and it'd probably increase too. Like I said, might even add another building over there. This tunnel I don't think would be too bad. It'd be a little bit weird to get through, but I think we'd be able to do this quite quickly. Maybe make it more spherical or make it similar to the design of this tunnel that we have over here. These buildings, this staircase that I was talking about earlier, have this bit of like a plaza area. This plaza area would probably extend to where the path is, by the way, which, like I said, path is there. And maybe even have a path over here into some housing, maybe? I'm not sure. All I know is that this is going to be a lot of work, and I know that I'm kind of backing myself into a corner, but I need to start working more on this base, and I need to start making it look nicer. That also means that we're going to have to start moving things like our squid farm here that we built a while back, as well as our sheep farm, our cows that we have over here that I just realized there's a cow in this pen, our sniffers, frogs. All of these are going to have to start being worked upon in actually getting this whole area to look more like a town and not just something I threw together within 5 seconds, because if you really think about it, that's what I kind of did. And again, my general hope is that I'll not like the little bits of colored wool being everywhere to the point where it will fuel me to actually work upon those build projects. We shall see. But yeah, that is going to be it for this week. I hope you all enjoyed. Nonetheless, we did get some stuff done. We made our flower farm in the Pale Garden. We went ahead and did some things to our mining village with the chains on the crystal, as well as the water implementation that does need to be fixed on both of those accords, but you know, we'll get to that when we get to that. The lovely planning I've done around here, and of course, finally, the villager hall that we are still picking away at piece by piece. But yeah, that's going to be it for this week. I thank you all for watching. You guys all take care. Have a great week, and I'll see you guys hopefully in the next one. All right, bye-bye.